Sometimes I know something's wrong before I know what it is. I can feel it in the way I respond to people. My patience gets shorter. I start wanting to be left alone. Things that normally wouldn't bother me suddenly feel irritating. Conversations feel like work. Small problems feel bigger than they are. And if somebody asked me what was wrong, I probably wouldn't have a clear answer. I would just know that I don't feel right. This is the first entry in something new. I'm calling the Iron Mind Journal. I started this because I realized I spend a lot of time feeling things I do not know how to explain. Sometimes I know something is wrong, but I cannot put words to it. Then the frustration turns into anger. I don't have all of this figured out. This series isn't me teaching from the other side of healing. It's me slowing down, paying attention, and trying to understand what I am carrying while I am still carrying it. And maybe some of you are trying to do the same. That happened to me this week. There was no major event, nothing drastic happened. I didn't wake up one morning completely different. My mood just gradually got worse as the week went on. At first, I assumed it was because I had been spending so much time alone. Maybe it was loneliness. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe I was thinking about things I hadn't fully acknowledged. I honestly didn't know. And not knowing made me frustrated. Then the frustration started becoming anger. That's usually how it happens for me. Something feels wrong. I can't explain it. I can't put words to it. Then eventually, I get angry. Not always the kind of angry where I yell or break something. Sometimes my anger gets quiet. I stop talking. I pull away. I can almost feel myself hardening, like I am becoming colder while it's happening. My patience disappears. My walls start going back up. And somewhere in my mind, I start telling myself that I don't need anybody. Then I look for distractions. Anything that keeps me from sitting still long enough to figure out what's actually happening inside me. For years, I think anger became the easiest emotion for me to recognize. Anger makes sense. Anger feels strong. Anger feels protective. Sadness feels exposed. Loneliness forces me to admit that I want connection. Fear means admitting that something can hurt me. Grief means admitting how deeply somebody mattered. But anger feels like armor. It gives me something solid to hold on to when everything underneath it feels unclear. And I think I learned some of that when I was young. I used to get angry a lot as a kid. When it happened, my parents would usually send me to my room. My sisters would be told, "Leave your brother alone. He has an attitude again." I want to be careful with how I talk about this, because I'm not blaming my parents. Mother Goose and Papa Smurf are awesome. I know how lucky I am to have them. They gave me opportunities and experiences that a lot of people only dream about. I have never doubted that they loved me. I think they saw an angry kid and handled it the best way they knew how. I just don't think anybody really knew what to do with my anger. And looking back now, I wonder whether anybody knew to ask what was underneath it. Was I hurt? Was I scared? Did I feel ignored? Was I overwhelmed? Was something happening that I didn't know how to explain? I don't remember being asked those questions. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have known how to answer them anyway. So anger became the explanation. I had an attitude. I needed to be alone. I needed time to calm down. And eventually, I would come out of my room and life would continue. But I do wonder whether I learned something from that pattern. Maybe I learned that when difficult emotions show up, I'm supposed to separate myself from everybody until they pass. Maybe I learned that anger is something people can see, but everything underneath it stays private. Maybe I learned to deal with things alone before I ever learned how to understand them. That doesn't mean anybody failed me. Sometimes, people can love us deeply and still not have the tools to help us understand every part of ourselves. And sometimes, we carry those patterns into adulthood without realizing it. Now, when something hurts me, I still tend to get quiet. I still become angry, and I can feel myself shutting doors inside me. The problem is that once I harden enough, I stop asking what happened. I stop being curious. I just decide that I am angry, or tired, or done. And anger becomes the final answer instead of the first clue. Somebody in counseling once told me something that changed how I looked at anger. They said anger isn't bad, just like happiness isn't bad, sadness isn't bad, boredom isn't bad. They're all just emotions. Every person experiences the full range of them. The problem isn't that anger exists. The problem is when we become consumed by it. I think a lot of men are ashamed of anger because we are constantly shown what uncontrolled anger can become. We see what happens when anger turns into violence, cruelty, abuse, destruction, and those things matter. We should be responsible for what we do when we are angry. But feeling anger and being controlled by anger aren't the same thing. The emotion itself isn't evil. Sometimes anger tells us that a boundary was crossed. Sometimes it tells us that something feels unfair. Sometimes it shows up because we're exhausted. Sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's loneliness wearing armor. And sometimes anger is the only emotion we learned how to identify. That may be true for me more often than I want to admit. This week, I didn't immediately recognize loneliness. I recognized irritation. I recognized the desire to be left alone. But maybe those weren't the original feelings. Maybe they were what showed up after I had already spent too much time disconnected. Maybe part of me wanted connection but didn't feel safe admitting that. Because wanting people means that people matter. And when people matter, they can leave. They can disappoint us. They can hurt us. They can be taken from us. There are reasons some of us become guarded. There are reasons vulnerability doesn't feel safe. For me, looking too closely at certain emotions feels dangerous sometimes. Part of me is afraid that if I open the door, I'm going to relive everything behind it. Grief, loss, betrayal, helplessness. Things I have spent years trying to survive. Sometimes I think, what happens if I find something I can't put back? What if I sit with the pain and it becomes too much? What if I admit that I'm lonely? What if I admit that I'm hurt? What if I let myself feel something I've been keeping contained? Anger feels safer because anger creates distance. It tells people to stay back. It tells me I'm still strong. It keeps me from feeling exposed. But I'm starting to wonder whether always protecting myself from pain also keeps me from understanding myself. Maybe the goal isn't to stop being angry. Maybe the goal is to ask better questions when anger shows up. Not, how do I get rid of this? Not, what's wrong with me? Maybe the question is, what happened before I became angry? What was I feeling before I got quiet? What did I need before I decided I didn't need anybody? Was I hurt? Was I lonely? Was I afraid? Was I overwhelmed? Did something remind me of an old wound? Was I expecting myself to carry too much again? I don't think every emotion needs to become a deep investigation. Sometimes we're irritated because we're tired. Sometimes we're angry because somebody did something wrong. But I also don't want anger to keep becoming the answer to questions I have never asked. That's what I want the Iron Mind Journal to be. Not a place where I pretend I have everything figured out. Not a place where I tell other men how they're supposed to feel. A place where we slow down long enough to be honest about what's happening inside us. A place where we try to put words to things we usually carry in silence. A place where the goal isn't to judge the emotion. The goal is to understand it. And maybe some weeks I will find an answer. Maybe some weeks I won't. But I think there is value in asking the question anyway. Because I've spent a lot of my life feeling things that I couldn't explain. And when I couldn't explain them, I usually became angry, quiet, or distant. I don't want to keep waiting until everything inside me becomes harder. I want to learn how to notice what's happening before I completely shut down. And maybe somebody watching this knows that feeling too. Maybe somebody asks what's wrong, and all you can say is, I don't know. Maybe you feel yourself becoming colder. Maybe you push people away before you understand why. Maybe anger is the only emotion that feels familiar. For this first entry, I don't think we need to fix anything. I think we just need to become curious. The next time anger starts showing up, pause for a moment before you judge yourself, before you shut down, before you distract yourself. Ask, what was I feeling before I became angry? You may not have an answer immediately, I probably won't either. But maybe understanding ourselves starts with being willing to ask. This is Iron Mind Journal, Entry 1.